I don't think symphonies and orchestras are ever or probably have never been very attractive to teenagers. Even if we're seeing a difference in age now and the audiences for the big classical institutes, ballet, orchestra are for old people, even kind of in their heyday or back a couple of generations, I still don't see high schoolers being interested in that. But I think the audience that is probably changing, that used to be interested, that's not interested anymore, maybe young adults or middle-aged adults, more so than youth. I personally like to go to shows. I don't actually, I haven't been to the symphony in a long time. I think I did go to the symphony once last summer, and it was a Whitney Houston show. Do you remember that? It was in Columbus, and that was fun. But I think that I even went to because I was going with my mom, and she brought it up, and I said, I'll go. I don't know. I think that you again, youth, they want to do something that's counterculture, and they want to do something that's their own thing in their own group. And if there's going to be interest, that we got to encourage interest in the arts with youth, I think it has to be in school.
I'm curious about your life experience, and you're what,
30.
35, 36, 36?
Mhm.
Your life experience and how you engage now, if you engage. So I'm going to throw all these questions out and then
Yeah,
answer however. What was your life experience growing up? Were you exposed to the arts?
definitely.
When you think of the arts, what do you think about? And then how are you now in your life as a millennial working full time, etc.? How do the arts play in your life right now?
Growing up, I was definitely exposed to the arts by my parents. I think in a lot of different ways. They always had music on when we would be in the car. More often, we were listening to CDs of musical soundtracks, or even movie soundtracks. Disney animated movie soundtracks were always playing in the car, and so we were always singing along, and it was fun. And even if we didn't sing in choir, I probably sang in the choir when I was really little, but after that, I didn't really sing in choir. I did start playing trumpet in concert band when I was in middle school, and played in high school and continued in college, and that was something that I never felt I was a very good trumpet player, but I liked it. I liked the camaraderie of doing something as a group. I wasn't very athletic, and so I didn't have fun with sports, but I still wanted that team aspect. And so I like marching band even a lot more than concert band, probably again because I wasn't the most skilled trumpet player, and I got better, practiced over time. I think what I liked the most artistically was art class, drawing and painting. I didn't actually get much time to do that in high school, but kind of the more introverted part of myself was drawn to, oh, I get to be able to work on projects by myself too. So it was nice that then kind of two different sides of my personality could find something to do in the arts. I never went to concerts when I was in high school. I remember the first concert that I went to was probably the summer after graduating from high school, and I went and saw the Killers downtown Columbus at an outdoor theater, and went with friends and just met there. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. I can't believe that I felt like I missed out on that a little bit. But there are so many different kinds of art that you can get involved in growing up that I think it's nice to caters to different interests.
And that's interesting because we're talking a lot about performing arts, and what I've in other conversations that I've had, most equate anything that is a live performance or even a recorded performance, whether sports has even come into the conversation, that in all intents purposes, that's an art form. I have a saying that I've been using, that the arts need to come out of the closet. And when I say that, I mean the traditional classical art form, perhaps because millennials and younger may think of art, or those that I've talked to do think of art as all live performance shows in Vegas, or any, again, the non-traditional, where I historically we've had a more of an elitism sense of the orchestra and the ballet and the opera. And so maybe there needs to be more of that crossover, not to say that you shift your mission, but try to reach out to different target audiences at different times, which I think orchestras do. Some of them will play along to the Harry Potter movie or something like that, which is their way, Leve performing with
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
those are fun. Those are fun because you can go see a movie that you already know that has a great score and listen to it live. I think that that can appeal to a lot of different people.
So how do you get your information today? Like, where do you find out what's going on in the world?
I kind of just I look it up on online. I think mostly as I look it up online. I don't come across the arts a lot without actively pursuing it. In some ways I do. So I'm more drawn to the art museum than to a show, although I like both. I am a member at the art museum. I do like to just kind of pop in, be able to go just for a quick visit. I always enjoy when there's a special exhibit because I feel like special exhibits at art museums kind of op they are less of the kind of traditional, maybe old guard sometimes. Sometimes the permanent exhibits are going to be much more what you would expect. It's very nice, but you've seen it before. A new exhibit or a special exhibit can be some form of art that you've never thought of before. It could feature an artist from a profile or a background that you've never seen, the art that they would produce before. And so to me, it's less about maybe going to see the type of beauty that I would expect, and it's more about going to see something that I'm not going to expect and try to open my mind and open my horizons a little bit. So I enjoy that. And so because I'm a member of the art museum, I do get updates from them and they'll tell me, okay, we've got this special exhibit at these dates. We're doing these special events. They've got like happy hours, which are fun. And I've been to a couple of those where they'll have a DJ or live music one day. And I love it when I can, like you mentioned earlier, there's kind of more of an attitude of spontaneity, being able to maybe consume art or plan our activities or our social lives kind of on the in the day or in the week. And I guess that might be a generational thing. I feel that way too. I'm always hesitant to like make plans or like, oh, schedule a date and a couple months out because it's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to be doing then. What if I'm not in the mood when the day comes? Or I like to, okay, it's this week. What am I going to do this Thursday? Let's look up and see what's going on this Thursday. I think that social activities seem to be like when I give gifts, I like to give things that are maybe a shared experience. When I receive gifts too, I mean, you can look in the background, you can see I've got way too much stuff in my house right now, but I don't need more, I don't want more stuff. I'd rather our gift be something that I can do with the person that's giving it to me, whether it's go out to a meal or go to a show. And so it was, we're in January, so a couple weeks ago it was Christmas, and I like to give Christmas gifts to my family that are tickets to go see something or do something together.
What you said about not having more stuff, that was one thing that came out of what I heard from the pandemic was younger generations are more interested in having an experience than having a thing.
Yeah.
You said that you're a member of the museum, and so you get updates. I'm assuming those are emails.
I get emails and they send me a little postcard too. Kind of
And
like
so you consume that. That's how would you like, what's the easiest way for you to get information, or how would you like it? Is it
I like email. And
you
maybe
do?
that's more of a me thing, maybe that's more of a millennial thing. I have social media. The only social media I use is Instagram. I have Facebook, but I haven't looked at Facebook at all in probably years. And then I feel like I missed the TikTok movement. So if there are things on TikTok, I'll end up seeing them on Instagram, but Instagram's pretty much where I see things. So I suppose if there were ads on Instagram, I would get things that way, but I'd probably forget about it more. I do like email.
Money or price isn't necessarily a barrier, but time. How do we spend our time? And
Yeah.
does that also resonate with you?
No, well, no. I mean, I could see that it could resonate with some people. I don't have kids, so that means I've got a lot more time to do things. I mean, time always seems busy, but I feel like we can also easily get caught up wasting all of our times doom scrolling on social media or binge watching series and then I just get angsty and I like need to get out and go do things. No, I think that we've got enough time. I mean, I have enough time. It's just a matter of am I remembering to do it? Am I prioritizing? I feel like the arts could market to individuals, to couples, but maybe if you want to also appeal as more of a social activity with friends or with a group, there should be some kind of happy hour event, like I was saying at the museum.
Do I go back with who's your audience or who do you want to be your audience? And I think there are different audiences depending on the performance.
Mhm.
And so rather than marketing in an automated way, which is just the same cycle, it's mixing it up and being variations of that so it reaches the right target audience.
I don't think that high schoolers are gonna ever want to go to the symphony or the ballet, or rarely. And I don't think that that's a now problem. I kind of think that that's probably how it's always been. But you got kids, high schoolers, younger than high school, should have exposure and should get interest in the arts in school. But from what I've heard is that there's not as much funding or care for arts in public schools anymore. And I feel like that is a big problem. If kids aren't helping to discover and helping to see art as a ways to express themselves or to use their imagination, then they're going to be less drawn or there's going to be less craving for that when they're an adult out in the world. So after I graduated from college in the US, I moved to France and I lived in France for 10 years. And so I kind of came of age over there and learned how to be an independent adult over there. And there are so many arts available, so many experiences you can have in art available, and they're basically all free for anyone that's 26 and under. So
Is
it
that government funded?
a lot of it is government funded.
So give me an example of what's free for if you're under 26.
So, for example, if you want to go to an art museum, it could be free or very highly discounted under 26.
Really good conversation.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.